Hey man, today I want to talk to you about an issue that really hits close to home for me because this has been something that I've been kind of working on and actually struggling with in the past while. And now that I've actually found some sort of solution, I'm just excited to share it with you. So, in this video, I want to talk to you about how you can destroy complacency and never stop making progress. So, a year ago, the idea of just stopping this notion of progress just seemed weird, right? That was right when I started self improvement. That was in the best time of my life. I was genuinely making like all these crazy adjustments that were genuinely doing so much to my life, right? They were genuinely changing so much in my environment, and it just felt like this notion of progress could never stop. But eventually, as I just naturally got a bit better and better, with time, and a year passed or something like that, I just felt lost. To some extent, I just felt lost because I was just doing the same thing all over again. I just didn't feel like there was something really changing in my behavior, right? And I thought to myself, is this like how it's supposed to go? Am I supposed to just kind of plateau and just kind of keep going from here and just is this like what I've reached? Is this the end? But then, I just thought better about it. And I thought to myself, fuck no, this is not even close to the end. Bro, I still have stick arms. Like, look at this shit. This is still a stick arm. So, in the notion of fitness, I still have a plenty more to go. I want to reach like 90 kilos of pure muscle mass, bro. I still have like 15 kilos left, right? So I still have a bunch more to go. And even the notion of fitness, in my mind, bro, I'm not even like once I started genuinely analyzing everything that I was doing and everything that I could be doing, I realized I'm not even close to actually getting where I wanted to be. And I just wanted to make progress, and I just felt like, man, I need to start making progress again. Let's do progress. Come on, let's do something. Let's work. Come on. But I just felt like a bit lost. I just didn't know what exactly I should work on so I can just kind of get this momentum going back again. I mean, maybe I could consider the fact that at that point in my life, I was kind of stuck in the self improvement, uh, pros like how'd you call it? Like some people just call it like a vicious cycle, the vicious cycle of self improvement. Where you just kind of end up making progress and then you just kind of fall complacent and then you keep doing like mediocre stuff because you're still on self improvement, right? You've changed your mind, yet you're not really actually pushing yourself to the limits you were before, but you're just kind of doing like mediocre shit when you could be here. You're just kind of going down under the line here, right? Sometimes you're growing a little bit, then you're kind of just going back down and everything, right? And so what I found, which has actually helped me, because I struggled in the past while, like this wasn't something that I used to struggle from what I can remember, like a year ago. Like the notion of waking up early to me, back then it was like absolutely amazing. I woke up early at like, I mean, back then I couldn't even like wake up too early, right? Because I came back from this time where I used to like wake up at 1 p.m., right? So me waking up at like 8 a.m. was absolutely amazing by myself. Waking up at 8 a.m. was like such a big change, and then it started going to 7:30, from 7:30 to 7:15, 7 a.m. 6:30 was like genuinely like I remember just waking up at 6:30 and thinking to myself, I'm the man, bro. Who the hell else wakes up at 6:30? And man, was I dumb? Like there's a lot of people waking up at 6:30. So then I just started waking up at 6, right? And I like this notion of waking up early for me. It was like amazing back then. I was so happy that I could just make so much improvement on it. But once I kind of settled for 6 a.m. or something like that, and this vicious cycle of self improvement started going on, in which I wasn't really doing like good progress. I was just kind of being mediocre, right? I just ended up missing a bunch of days. Like I have my habit tracker, right? I have it all written down on a piece of paper, and like the first habit that I have is waking up early because that I don't know, that just means a lot to me, right? If I don't wake up early in the day, I just feel shit throughout the day. Like it's like that's a really good way to determine whether I'm gonna have like a good day based on my thoughts and my beliefs or not. It's whether I wake up early or not, right? It's whether I wake up early and then everything else can happen, right? But waking up early is like a must do for me. and I just ended up missing a bunch of days. Like I ended up like waking up at 6:30, and some I still write it there. Like I wouldn't take it off, but I read 6:30. But then I just thought to myself, bro, I'm coping. I said 6 a.m. and I'm waking up at 6:30. I'm not gonna take it off anymore. So I wasn't taking it off, and I just saw like a bunch of days piling up where I was genuinely not even waking up early. Where I was like doing mediocre exercises, right? I was doing mediocre physical health. I was just not reading, I was not journaling, I was not writing anything, I was not meditating consistently. I was not doing like the things that genuinely made my life better, right? And I mean, then I thought to myself, yeah, I have to start doing those things like much more and more and more because that's genuinely so important to me. And right when I got that, I like had like this quick short boost of motivation, right? It just kept me going for several weeks, maybe. And then I just went back again and went back again, and that kept happening, and I kept having this motivation boost, and then it just kept going down again, and it was just very, very unusual. And so, right, so sorry about that. Somebody had to come around, and but what I did in order to actually fix this vicious cycle of self improvement was that I actually just upped my standards. Like it's that simple. I mean, back then it just felt weird. Like, bro, how am I supposed to fix this? Like, it's been going on for months at this point, like maybe 2 months, a bunch of weeks in which I just couldn't make any kind of progress. How the hell am I supposed to actually get my life together? And how the hell am I supposed to do what I want to do when I just can't even wake up early? Like, that was so demoralizing for me. Just knowing that I could have been waking up early and I could have been just starting a day off in this forward center of mass, as Andrew Huberman would put it. You know, like starting this day kind of actually attacking it, right? You know, waking up early, doing this, attacking the day, right? But no, I was just kind of being in this defensive tone. I was waking up late. I was just kind of coping that it was fine. You know, sometimes it happens to everybody. Like, this is one of the beliefs that I think really helped me back. Like, the idea that, oh, well, from time to time, you know, it's gonna happen. You're bound to not always gonna make, you're not always gonna make great progress, bro. You're not always gonna be on top. And that's true. I mean, you're not always gonna be on top. You're not always gonna be perfect. But that doesn't give you an excuse for what you're doing wrong. Like, I mean, it just doesn't feel like an excuse. Like, it's a fact, but it's not an excuse. I mean, for me at least, bro, I cannot take that as an excuse, you know, to just kind of pussy out. I mean, I used to take it before and I felt horrible. Like, I genuinely felt horrible just telling myself this. And yeah, this is again like a really interesting matter of what your brain and what your subconscious has to say about you. Like, my brain, my subconscious was literally telling me, bro, you're fucking coping. You're bullshitting yourself. But it wasn't clearly telling me that, so I didn't really know. Right? I couldn't really notice it, but I just felt bad. I just felt this sense of guilt when I was saying that, when I was like genuinely saying, oh my god, yeah, it just happens from time to time, bro. I mean, come on. It's part of the journey, bro. It's part of the journey. I just felt guilty saying that because I don't, man, me literally just finding excuses for that behavior just felt horrible. And so I just didn't know what to do. I was pissed off. I just didn't understand. But what I came to the conclusion that was the best thing that I could do was actually up my standards, was actually raise my standards for myself. Because, you know, this is a really interesting concept. You know, we start self-improvement. This is literally what you do on self-improvement. Like, this is kind of like the technical stuff, right? You literally like the mindset changes. I think it's literally you when you start self improvement. You have this other mindset. You want to get to this one, right? You have this one, but you want to get to this one. When if you want to get to this one, you have to change this one by upping your standards. You have to change this one by raising your expectations for yourself and for the people around you, and then you can actually get to this one. You can actually get to the one that you actually want. But that's it. It's only through raising your standards, your expectations. And so, you know, you understand this probably. You already know this. You're like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm raising my expectations. I'm doing this, but how does this help me with this vicious cycle of self-improvement, you know, that just keeps me in this mediocre state after a while? You might think, oh, it's just like at the gym, you make a bunch of progress at first and then you kind of like dim down and dim down. No, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Bro, I mean, self-improvement is literally, it's just you using your mind and like your body for growth. And your mind never stops growing. Like your mind can literally grow exponentially every single damn day. It's just about you actually making it so that it happens, right? And so what I ended up realizing was that even after, you have like the initial raise of standards when you start self-improvement, right? You make a bunch of good progress and you just kind of end up meeting some of those standards. I mean, when you start self-improvement, you cannot set amazingly high standards. I mean, you can, but it won't really be that efficient, right? You will have to set like realistic standards for yourself that you can actually achieve. And so I did that. I achieved those standards. And then I thought to myself, yeah, look, I mean, I look decently well. I look okay. I'm not fat. I have a decent brain. Like, I can think. I can do things, bro. I can work to some extent, right? And this was kind of like the standards that I put, like the realistic standards that I wanted for myself when I started self-improvement. I reached those standards. And then I just kind of, I thought to myself, okay, well, I guess this is it. I guess, I mean, I subconsciously thought to myself, I guess this is it. I guess, this is what I wanted, this is what I got, so cool. But then I just felt a bit lost. I was like, what am I supposed to do next? And I thought to myself, is there supposed to be a next? Then, yeah, naturally, there is supposed to be a next. I mean, life is always going to be a next. It's always about the next thing that's going to happen. So, what I did, what I ended up realizing that, okay, raise your standards again. I mean, you do this, right? You have this growth at first, standards, you reach those standards, there's a period where you plateau, and then when you actually realize, okay, I have to set new standards for myself, grow again. And then probably the same thing happens after you reach those standards that you set for yourself, and then you set new standards and you keep growing. It's like this, going like this, right? It's like steps, essentially. And I think there's always gonna be like that, like small period in between, like that little changing period, where it's kind of like a bit plateauing and then it just keeps going up again, right? It's because you don't necessarily, it's kind of weird and it's kind of hard to actually realize when you've reached those standards. I mean, unless you set like vividly clear standards, like, okay, I want to cut down to 81 kilograms and I want to put on 5.6 kilograms of muscle mass by the end of this year, right? If you achieve that, you're like, okay, cool, I've reached my standards, now up them again, right? But I didn't do that. My goals were kind of a bit more on the spiritual side of things. They were much more mental. I mean, yeah, I wanted to look good, definitely, but I mean, to some extent, I understood that if I wanted to actually make change in the physical world, I had to change what was going on in here. And so I did like more of these mental goals for myself, that I would actually start being much more hardworking, that I change my behavior, I change my ways, I change my habits, I change my mentality about life. And so I did those things, I changed those things, and then I thought to myself, okay, cool, I guess this is it. I stopped playing video games, I stopped, like, I literally just stopped all those addictions, right? Like, I could count them, like, there were like 10 of them at least. I stopped most of them, I think, if not all of them, that I'm aware of. I literally destroyed all of them. And now, I'm like, okay, cool, what's next? I thought to myself, all right, this is it. But, then I realized, now that you've destroyed your addictions, now you can actually fucking grow. Now you can actually make amazing progress. Now is the fucking time to struggle, bro. To work your ass off, to fucking struggle, bro. And so I ended up actually, like, up until this point, after I reached my potential, and like not my potential, my standards, like my initial standards, and I was in this plateau phase. I was not going to the gym. I was at home. I was kind of doing exercises at home. I was going to handball practice. That was cool and all. That was okay. mostly cardio, nothing like muscle building and everything that I actually wanted to get into. And then once I realized, okay, I have to up my standards. Come on, I thought to myself, okay, cool, fuck it, I'm gonna buy a gym membership and I'm gonna go to the gym every single damn day, like almost every single damn day. At first I took like 2 days off, weekends, right, and then I just trained during the week. But now I take one day off, right, and train every other day. And that was one way to up my standards. But then this was like more on the physical side of things, and I also had to up my standards in regarding to like the things that I was eating, the things that I was accepting in my life on a physical basis, like the people that I had in my life and everything. They were okay, but they were not enough. They were not what I like. My ambitions, at the back of my head were just kind of flaring up, are still flaring up, and they're like, come on, get your shit together, do more, sacrifice more, let's go, right? And on the mental side of things, it's only recently that I thought to myself, yeah, I have to change my ways. If I want to make good progress, if I want to genuinely change something in my life and make a decent amount of fucking progress, and if I want to just keep doing that every day and literally just tear through life, like, if I want to do that, then I have to work. Then it means that I have to dedicate a bunch of my time. Because up until this point, I was living with this lie in my head that, okay, I do the hard work first and then I relax. Okay, I work out and then I waste a bunch of time. Okay, I do my homework and then I go play some video games. Like, this was kind of the idea that I had in my mind when it came to like improving my life. I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna improve my life exponentially now, and then I'm just gonna enjoy the fruits of my labor without actually working anymore, without actually helping to maintain that. And so yeah, I ended up upping my standards. I ended up realizing that this is what I need to do, that I need to again set higher standards for myself. And you might think to yourself, well, it's kind of hard to set higher standards for yourself in life once you've actually gained a good level. Yeah, it might be a bit more difficult, but it's worth it. It's genuinely fucking worth it. I mean, bro, I've like something that I really really need, and which I've actually taken a step towards, is upping my standards for the people that I have in my life. So that means changing and like taking away and bringing in the relationships which I think benefit me and the ones that don't. Right? I take away the ones that don't and I bring in the ones that benefit me. I try. And so that means that I have to sacrifice. That sadly means that I have to sacrifice some things and some people. That means that I'm gonna have to struggle. I'm gonna work hard to build new relationships with people that I think will be good for me, will be good for my family, will be good for my future. Right? This is something that I'm really getting into. And just yesterday, I was supposed to have my last handball practice. Oh, no, sorry. No. Today, I'm supposed to have my last handball practice, but I'm not at home, so I'm not going to have it. And then I'm done. After this, like, I'm done. I'm not going to handball practice because this place, had been filled. I mean, again, it was filled with a bunch of good guys, right? A bunch of cool guys that I got along with, but at the same time, also people who just I just can't stand, like those kinds of people that you just cannot stand, like on a personal level. And so I thought to myself, why waste a bunch of time there, bro? I mean, you could be working hard, you could be doing those things without being with those people in there. Like, come on, change up your fucking standards, man. Have higher standards for yourself, for the people that you have around you. Have higher standards for what you're doing throughout the day. Have higher standards for when you wake up. Like, this is also being. It's kind of like for the random person out there, might be not really be that much of a deal, like exactly when you wake up. But for me, waking up at 6 a.m. and actually getting out of bed and being like forward center of mass a little bit in the morning, it just means the world to me, man. I don't know why, but it just means the world to me. And I think it's so important to everybody, bro. I mean, if all of us, bro, if we started genuinely pursuing this forward center of mass, especially when we wake up in the morning and we actually think of ourselves actually taking something head on, instead of just bearing through it, instead of being like, oh well, I'll build discipline by just going to the gym, but I just kind of don't really feel like doing it, but you don't really admit to yourself. And then you're like, okay, I'll just fuck off, right? I'll do it. I'll do it fast. I'll do it quick, and I'll just kind of get it over with. No, now I'm thinking to myself, yeah, let's fucking do it. Come on. I'm actually trying to throw myself at the challenge instead of letting the challenge come to me. Instead of being in this defensive stance in which I'm just kind of bearing through like the wind just blowing in my face, now I'm actually walking head on a bit in the front, I'm actually taking some fucking momentum in. And this is the way that I love living my life. And I think this could really help you out. Changing your standards, like genuinely raising your standards for yourself, your expectations for the people around you, for the things that you have in your life, for the habits that you're doing. Like, this is the only way that you're ever gonna grow. Like, it's that simple. Without raising your standards and expectations on a constant basis, you'll just end up plateauing and even going down. So, keep that in mind, man. Right. I hope this helps you, bro. I'll see you next time. Good luck.